Hey, what's up everybody? Wes here. Thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in this 18-inch Ego chainsaw like I was, you're definitely not alone. It's a very popular saw and for good reason. I've got a lot of use out of mine. I've taken it from brand new out of the box into this condition right here. We've been definitely cutting a lot of wood. I've got a new wood stove that we just installed, so we've been stacking a lot. In this video, I'll be showing you how it cuts and a few tips and tricks on upkeep for this saw. That way you can keep it running right. And just as a side note, I did purchase this saw out of my own pocket. This was not donated or given to me. So real quick here out of the box, you've got your Ego charger as well as the 5 amp hour battery. This is one of the bigger ones for the Ego series, and it comes with just a little bit of charge out of the box. So a couple of bars here, so definitely throw that on the charger, get it all the way up to full charge. You'll know it's fully charged when it's got this complete circle of rings and it's blinking at you. And then real quick before you use it, definitely go to the website and make an account. This is where you'll register your battery and your tool to get a warranty on that. They do 5 years on the tool as long as you're residential, and then they'll offer 3 years warranty on the battery. So definitely a step that you don't want to skip. But while registering your tool is optional, adding some bar and chain oil is not. The Ego version is what I recommend. It's actually a bar and chain lubricant. It's definitely not the same oil consistency that you might have used in your gas chainsaw. So make sure that you've got it topped up with the proper lubricant before you go for your first use. Now this saw does have a little safety button here that has to be pushed in before you can actually engage the saw. Here's what it sounds like running, and here's a look at the throttle response. It's actually pretty good. It does take this saw just a second to get up to full speed, but it's not a problem because it definitely cuts very well. Here it is in action. This is some wood here that's fairly dry. It's been out here for a little while, but it definitely is a big piece of wood. I think this here was probably something like 12 or 14 inches thick, and it cut right through it no problem. I actually really enjoy how quiet this chainsaw is. I mean, it does make a little bit of racket, but it's not something that you just have to wear earplugs for. It's not really just going to blow you out or upset the neighbors. And it really does. It cuts really well, as you can see here. We've done quite a bit of cutting and stacking since purchasing this saw. This isn't a video that I just made fresh out the gate just to tell you it's a good saw. It really does work, but it does have some trade-offs compared to the gasoline version. Some good and some bad. Again, I like that it's quiet. You can just charge it up. You don't have to worry about mixing fuel. But the biggest negative factors on this saw are really that you're just limited by the battery, which isn't that limiting and is expensive. But speaking of the battery, I just got this whole truck bed load cut, and I still have plenty of juice left on there. So really just for day-to-day use, it's no problem. Chewy, thought it was pretty cool, but a pretty solid saw. I could keep going with this, but again, I ran out of bed space. So that's not a problem for your regular users like myself. And when it comes to maintaining the saw, it is also super easy. You just got this big green knob here on the side that you just turn left to loosen it up and then pull your cover off. And then it gives you access to everything that got dirty and dusty while you were cutting. So just go ahead and get this all cleaned up, blow it off, get it wiped down really good, and then you just put the cap right back on it and it secures on. It self-tightens, so you're not really just going to like Hercules this thing shut. Just get it pretty snug, and it's going to tighten the chain for you and keep it at the proper tension. Another neat feature that this saw has that many don't is the optional light on the front. I don't know how much I'll use it, but it is pretty neat that it's there. It has 2 different settings, and it actually is surprisingly bright. I took it inside last night just to kind of do a test on it. Here's the low, and then here's the high. So if you are outside working at night, if you have a tree that fell across your road and it's dark, you're trying to get it cut out of the way, I could definitely see this being beneficial, or even using it as a work light. But either way, a very thoughtful addition to this saw. And as far as some other maintenance goes, you want to keep your chain very sharp. I picked up this little bench vise so I could just lock it in on the table here and just give it a couple of rakes with the file each time I get ready to use it, or when I'm finished. That way you can keep it in tip-top shape. I picked up this little kit off of Amazon. I'll have a link in the description, but that'll help keep your chain nice and sharp, making some nice clean cuts and making your battery power more efficient. And an often overlooked part of the maintenance for a chainsaw is keeping the tip of the bar greased. You'll notice here there's a little hole here for the grease to go into, and there's a sprocket inside there that spins and allows the chain to spin around. So you'll just give it a couple of pumps of grease here, and then you'll actually see it start to come through the chain. When you see that, just kind of pull the chain through, get it worked into the sprocket, and then just wipe off any of the excess, and then you're good to go. So that's something you'll want to do either before or after each use, just to kind of keep everything in tip-top shape. Then just slip on your bar cover and you're ready for storage. But I really have enjoyed this saw. I definitely think it's something that your average homeowner or even someone like me could use. I mean, I have cut and stacked a lot of wood here with it. I actually had a gas chainsaw, but I wound up selling it. mostly because this one just does everything that I need it to do. You don't have to worry about all the fuel and the fumes. You just charge it up, it stores cleanly, doesn't smell. So really a lot of pros to having a electric chainsaw. Unless you're like a professional arborist or something, I think this is going to work for you just fine. But with that being said, if I could make a suggestion for an awesome axe for you to get, if you need to also split some wood, it would be this Fisker's X27 model. I picked this up off Amazon, and I also have a link for that in the description if you're interested. But as far as the saw itself goes, I definitely highly recommend it. It's definitely held its own and served its purpose for me. I have no complaints. The only thing that you might want to look at is getting an additional battery. If you're going to be using this thing a lot, you probably are going to want a battery as a backup, and it's not a bad idea just in case. But either way, I really appreciate you tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave those below. I'll do my best to get back to you. But until the next one, I really appreciate it, and we'll see you then. All right, peace.